Hello everybody and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be diving into the past, if you will. I'll be looking at old cult favorites, my own and others, and we're going to be talking about whether or not they still hold up, whether or not I personally think that these are valid favorites, valid cult favorites, valid holy grails, whatever you want to call them. These are all products that at a certain point in time, some more recent than others, were really hyped up. Everybody really loved them a lot. Everybody had something to say about them, mostly good things, of course, but these items have sort of died out, sort of fizzled out, if you will. Not a lot of people are talking about them in the same way, and some of these items have completely been forgotten, and a lot of these things are things that you probably haven't seen on my channel at least in a very long time. So we're just going to be getting into all of that good stuff, all of the good, the bad, and the dirty, so let's just get into the video. Gosh, this palette right here, if you don't know what this is, then you are, well, I'd say that you're probably lucky. But this is the Morphe 350 palette. The Morphe 350. For a time, everybody and their mothers and their grandmothers and their aunties and uncles and cats and dogs were obsessed with the Morphe 350. Everybody was obsessed, was so into it. Now that I kind of look at it, I'm like, why though? Like, why was everybody so into it? Because like, this is such a boring looking palette. Like, the only part of this palette that's kind of interesting is like the row that's like above my hands, like this like little this selection of like 2 rows right here. That's really interesting. That would make a fun palette. But like the other shades, like this is so neutral and so kind of boring. And I will say that the quality of these shadows, not the best. Definitely. Like these shadows are not that great, in my personal opinion. Looking at this and comparing it to other formulas. I will say that the metallics are pretty good in my personal opinion, but like, yeah, this is just like not that great. Like a lot of these shades look super similar on the eyes, and honestly, I got this because I think that Jaclyn Hill was really hyping it up, as was everybody. But, like, I got this when it was restocked, and I was so happy to get it, and I was so obsessed with it. But now, I'm like, I can't remember the last time I used it. I mean, I can't remember the last time I used it, but I'm pretty sure that when I was using it, I was reaching for, like, this color right here. Because now, the only 2 shades that I use in this palette, this shade, and I probably use this shade the most because I don't really have a good matte orange that I like in my collection. Well, actually, no, that's a lie. I have several, but for a time, this was like my favorite matte orange until I got some new formulas in my collection. But yeah, like that's the only reason I'm keeping this, because of like some of these shades, and that's it. And everybody else has either decluttered this or forgotten about it. Like, people don't use this anymore. People are not as into it. And it's for good reason, I think. I think that there's no logical reason for anybody to be buying this anymore, because like the quality is not the best and the shades are completely out of date. Like, there's so many more interesting neutral palettes that I can suggest to you guys. I actually have a video talking about my top 5 favorite neutral palettes that I recommend to anybody. Different price ranges, of course, and I will have that in the cards. But like, this is not the best neutral palette, and it's not the best quality, and it's kind of obvious when you talk about the quality, because like this has completely fallen apart. It's just 35 shades of mostly boring, so this is definitely something that fizzled out, and for good reason. These are not as hyped up as they used to be, but I still think that these are stellar, standout products. I'm talking about the Stila, what's it called? What are these called? The Magnificent Metals Glitter and Glow Liquid Eyeshadow. These are beautiful. I have 2 shades. I have Kitten Karma, which is like this color right here, and then I have Molten Midnight, which is like a blackish, kind of like dark gray base with like flecks of silver glitter. Absolutely beautiful. I've used both of these and I love them. They're so good. The only reason I don't actually go into these more is because of these are kind of neutral shades. I probably could use Kitten Karma a lot. I'd say Molten Midnight would look really beautiful, I feel like, with some darker tones. But yeah, these are great. These are so beautiful, so pretty. I feel like people have sort of like stopped talking about these as much because they, I mean, look, because now we have other brands, like different other brands competing against this kind of formula and this kind of product, because for a time Stila was basically dominating this like little niche in the market. No other brand that was able to successfully launch a product quite like this for quite a bit. But now you have a lot of other brands that are launching similar products for a fraction of the price, and I feel like that's the reason a lot of people don't really talk about these anymore, because like, they're trying out other things. But I do think that these are still wonderful. They're fantastic. I will say, though, if you are looking for like a glittery, shimmery, liquidy kind of thing similar to this, there are cheaper options. You don't have to pay like $20 for one of these. You could if you wanted to. Of course, if you have a shade that you absolutely love, go for it. But there are other options in my personal opinion. I still think that these are fantastic and I should use them more often, but people have sort of stopped talking about them. Oh my gosh, I used to be a hardcore Jaclyn Hill fan, guys. I used to love Jaclyn Hill. Now I'm kind of like, not so much. I mean, I like her, but like, I'm not obsessed with her. I used to be obsessed with her. This is the Jaclyn Hill palette from Morphe. Like, this is the palette that everybody was going bananas for such a very long time. Now, of course, when you think like famous Morphe palette, you think the James palette, the James Charles palette, and who knows, I might make another video similar to this in which we're talking about the James Charles palette once everybody gets sick of it. But like, this is the Jaclyn Hill palette, and mine is so old that it has like the old bad kind of packaging with like the card that everybody was like kind of like irritated by, because some people actually didn't get this card. And yeah, so basically what Morphe did is that they redid the entire palette. They made the packaging better quality, and then they also put the shades on the back of the palette. So anyway, I have like the old school, the palette, what it looked like when it first launched, and this is pretty much it. And I will say that I feel like a lot of people still really like this palette, and this palette is kind of still relevant, but then again, I can't remember the last time I saw a tutorial using this palette and actually clicked on it. You know, because now, like, I look at this palette and the only colors that interest me are, like, the colors in this area, and that's it. I think that it's a pretty good neutral palette. The quality is good. It's definitely better than the 350 in my personal opinion, but is it the best in my collection? Far from it. Not really at all. It's a good palette. Like, I just think that there's some better options out there. I think that this is probably one of the best Morphe palettes that are out there, but is it like the best palette in my collection? No. And I definitely don't reach for it because, again, it's kind of neutral city, and you guys can definitely tell based on my makeup today how far away I am from neutrals. I'm pretty like, I love color, and that's just how it is. So this is not a very colorful palette. I mean, you have a few colors, but you don't have a lot at all. So yeah, that's kind of why I'm not reaching for it. I just feel like other people are kind of like not into it because of the fact that it was so hyped up so intensely, and then people just started getting a little bit bored. I mean, like, for a time, you would post a tutorial or you could post a look with this palette and you would tag Morphe, or you would basically say Jaclyn Hill palette, and you would get so much engagement. Now, not so much. Definitely not necessarily a cult favorite anymore, but it's good, but it's just not like the best. And I don't know about you, but whenever I am using anything, I'm not really interested in using something that's just good. I want to use something that's like either amazing when it comes to color, or I want to just use like the best formulas in my collection. And if a formula doesn't hold up in that way, I just don't really reach for it, and that's just how it is. I mean, like, whenever I want to create a makeup look, I want to enjoy myself, I want to enjoy the process, I want to love the finished product, and like sometimes you like things at a certain point and then you kind of like get sick of it, and then of course you start realizing that there are better formulas out there and products that are more for your personal style, and you start like just expanding and evolving and trying new things. And then like I feel like a lot of times like these products, some of these products are still amazing in my personal opinion, and they have definitely held up, and then other products not so much. I also want to talk about something that I definitely think that is a little bit more of a recent acquisition into my collection compared to a lot of the other products that I've mentioned in this video. I'm talking specifically about the KKW and KKW and Mario eyeshadow palette. This is it right here. It's such a beautiful palette, and this is what it looks like. I actually still am head over heels in love with this palette. It's so, so beautiful. The quality is absolutely smash fabulous, drop dead gorgeous. It is so, so good. This palette was on everybody's radar when it launched. I think it was last year. Everybody was obsessed with it, and then it was kind of like a fad moment, I think, unfortunately, to the point that everybody was like obsessed with it. Everybody was going bananas for it. And I feel like once everybody had had their fill, this palette was kind of like left in the dust. And it's kind of unfortunate because I feel that this palette is such good quality. The colors are simply beautiful. The performance is absolutely amazing. I've done so many videos with this palette, and I have actually duped all the colors in this palette as well. But this is just such a gorgeous palette. I love it so much. And yes, it's a neutral palette, so I don't really reach for it that often, but I definitely think if you're looking for like a neutral palette, maybe with a pop of blue, I know you probably already have that in your collection, but this is a good palette. If you love the color story, the quality is absolutely amazing. It definitely holds up. It's just such a beautiful palette. I definitely should use it more. It's just one of those things that because of the lack of color in here, I don't really use it that often. I will say that whenever I reach for this palette, I almost always reach for this color and this color, like almost every single time, because those two colors are so beautiful. The rest of the colors are great as well, but those two colors are my favorite. It's just such a pretty palette, like really good quality. It's kind of sad that nobody's talking about it anymore, but you know, that's just how it is sometimes. Last but not least, I want to talk about a definite old school beauty product that everybody was going absolute bananas for. This product, I would definitely call it revolutionary. It changed a lot of different makeup, and it definitely has a hand in the makeup that we're seeing today. I'm talking specifically about the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector, and I'm talking about Champagne Pop. This, my friends, was revolutionary. Before this, I don't think that many other brands were releasing like champagne colored highlights. Jaclyn Hill was definitely one of the first people to really just like start this movement. I definitely feel that before Jaclyn, this highlight shade was present in the market. It just took this highlighter and this launch to really just change the way we were viewing highlighters and change the way that highlighters were released. It's just like such a revolutionary product, really absolutely gorgeous. I will say that this is the only Becca product that I own in my collection. I'm not like a Becca fan. I'm just not. It's not that I don't like Becca, I'm just not too interested in anything they have to offer. But Champagne Pop, I mean, I loved Jaclyn Hill at the time. I was obsessed with her, and then I saw this and I loved the highlight. I still wear it every now and then. I don't really wear it that often though. I probably should get into it more. It's a highlighter that I still think a lot of people do own. I still think that it's present in a lot of people's makeup collections, but I feel like people have just forgotten about it, and it's kind of a shame, but then again, it's just makeup, so I don't really care too much. But like, yeah, I definitely think that this video goes to show that trends change, obsessions sort of like falter, and people start like just sort of like moving on. So if you're looking at like any kind of launch and you don't absolutely love it, but you find that seemingly everybody else does, chances are you're probably like going to see like everybody stop talking about the item relatively soon. People definitely get to like this sick level of obsession, and then they just fizzle away, you know, like people just move on. So yes, I do hope you enjoyed this video, found it useful, found it entertaining. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Let me know, do you own any of these items? And if so, what do you think? Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye guys.